Hey everyone and welcome to another Deck Heroes video. Today's video is melding properly and copies needed for a successful meld. I'll be explaining you guys some melding concepts so to make sure you are melding optimal and not wasting too many resources during your melds. During this video I'll also be showing some of my own melding gameplay that I did today. I think I used somewhere around 12 million golds to do different melds because the melding event is pretty good. Anyway, to start it off, first of all, you have skill that you can skill that 3, 4, or 5 star creatures can learn. The most common one is Battle Blow. Like that skill you can put into any 3 or 4 or 5 star creature. The successful chance per melt uh, to be success for that type of skill is 20% without any events. So every time you try to melt, the success rate is always 20%. There's a lot of common mistake is that when the expertise is somewhere, for example, at 90%, people think that the chance that they're gonna successful melt is 90%. That is not true. Uh, it's always gonna be 20%. 20%. When the expertise hit 100%, that's when you're guaranteed to melt on your next melt. But other than that, it doesn't matter how much the expertise is. The chance that it will be a successful melt is always 20%. Uh, and same goes for the stronger skills such as Frost Armor, which 4 and 5 star creatures can learn, and the Pyre 8, something like that, the 5 star creature can learn. Those one are a bit lower. Those one are 15% chance per successful melt. So uh, based off those information, we're gonna look at how much copies would it take us if we want to melt a frost arm or a pirate a type of skill, any skill that has 50% success rate, because those are the most common spells. So I just took as for example frost armor. I think that's the most common melt. Without the melt event, you need 8 copies of the same creature plus the initial one to successfully melt. So you actually 9 in total. So I'll just take Flame Blade for example. So your first melt is gonna be 15% expertise. Your second melt plus add another 15%. You can see the calculations, and on your 7th melt, your expertise will be a total of 105%. And on that, once it's that, you need one more copy to make sure uh, the melt goes successful, right? So that's without a melt event. So you need 8 copies of the same card. It gets a bit different with melt event. With melt event, it takes only 5 copies of the same cards if you're not using gems. We're gonna go into the gems a bit further later in the video, but I'm just talking without gems now. Without gems and using the melt event, which gives double expertise, you only need 5 copies. So let's say again this the flame brave example, so you get 30% expertise for the first melt. It's called E3 event 1 melt. You get another 30% for the second melt that you do on event E2. You get another 30% for your third melt, which I call E3 event melt. The fourth one doesn't matter if it's event or not, because I mean 90 plus 15 or plus 30, both are above 100. So the fourth one doesn't matter if it's event or not, and neither does the fifth one, because once your expertise is above 100, it doesn't matter if it's event or not. It's always going to be successful melt. So as you can see, with the melt event, we need 5 copies plus the initial. I think it's called just a card. So actually, one level 15 card or level 10 card plus 5 of duplicates. Okay. Alright, so now if you decide to use gems, it gets a bit different. With the gems, it only takes 4 copies with the melt event. So this means you save 1 copy if you're gonna use gems to melt. But the most effective way to use gem is you you use the first attempt. You use 1 attempt with gems. So the initial chance is actually 30% during the event, but gems add another 50%. So with a gem melt, you get 45% expertise. Okay, and then for the normal event, you get another 30%, and for the another event, you get 30%. So you only need 3 copies to melt during the event. After that, you will reach 105% expertise, and then you need a one final copy that makes a total of 4 copies. You can do the other math for similar style for the weaker skills or the 3, 4, 5 stock creature ones. It works out it's in the same concept, but the bottom line is usually when you use gems, it usually saves you 1 copy. So it's kind of useful if it's a 5-star creature, or if it's a 4-star creature that is hard to get, such as the Sword Master, or something you like a lot, maybe Light Brave or something like that. But if it's a creature that you can, explore often, like the Hornbeast or a Graboid or a Ivojonara, I prefer not to use gems because you can get copies out of it. As you can see on my gameplay video during the time I also talked, I pretty much failed a lot of melts because 15% is actually nothing. Like I feel 15% is more less than 10. I just have bad luck, so I always go for the 101. And if ever happens that I get a lucky 50% success rate, I'll just take it. But usually the 100% way is to go. Alright guys, I hope you find this video useful. There's still of course so many things to talk about meld, but this video was more specific towards the copies needed to make sure you use the right amount of copies, because it's kind of sad if you're gonna use 8 copies of the same card if you don't use the meld event to melt up a specific creature, because you're wasting tons of copies. Like there are some really awesome 4-star creatures that I prefer not to waste too many copies, and sometimes I even use gems. Right, that's it for this video guys. Remember to like and subscribe if you find this video useful, and I'll catch you guys next time.